On a distant planet far from Earth, a colossal warship of the Galactic Council loomed ominously in the sky. This ship, the Titan's Wrath, was a symbol of the Council's power, equipped with advanced weapons capable of destroying entire cities in seconds. The Council had ruled the galaxy with an iron fist for centuries, suppressing any resistance with terrifying force. Now they had set their sights on Earth, planning to enforce their harsh laws on its unsuspecting inhabitants. Deep within the ship, alarms blared as the Council's commanders discussed their impending attack. They believed Earth was nothing but a primitive world filled with weak beings. Little did they know that a group of determined humans was preparing to fight back. Aboard a hidden vessel known as the Defiant, a crew of skilled human soldiers and tech experts gathered around their command table. The ship was cloaked in advanced technology, allowing it to remain unseen by the Titan's wrath. Bonner, the rugged and charismatic commander of the Defiant, stood at the head of the table, his expression serious. He glanced at his team, each member's face reflecting a mix of determination and fear. "We don't have much time," Bonner said, his voice steady despite the tension in the air. "The Galactic Council has set a countdown for an attack on Earth. If we don't stop them, millions will die. We need to infiltrate that warship and disable their weapons before it's too late." The crew nodded, understanding the gravity of their mission. Among them was Alex, a young but skilled pilot who admired Bonner for his bravery. "What's the plan, Commander?" Alex asked, his voice filled with eagerness. Bonner took a deep breath, knowing the odds were stacked against them. "We'll use the cloaking device to get close to the Titan's Wrath. Once we're inside, we need to reach the control room and shut down their weapon systems. If we can do that, we can buy Earth enough time to prepare for a defense." As they finalized their plan, the atmosphere inside the Defiant was charged with tension. The crew members shared nervous glances, each realizing they might not return from this dangerous mission. But they all understood what was at stake: the survival of their planet and their loved ones. Just before they initiated their launch, Bonner gathered everyone for a brief moment of camaraderie. "We've trained for this, and we're ready. We're not just fighting for ourselves. We're fighting for everyone on Earth. Let's show the Galactic Council that humanity is not to be underestimated." With a determined cheer, the crew prepared for battle, their spirits lifted by Bonner's words. They activated the cloaking device, and the Defiant silently glided through the darkness of space, drawing closer to the massive warship that threatened their home. As they approached the Titan's Wrath, the enormity of the warship filled their view screen. Its metallic surface glistened under the distant stars, but its sheer size was intimidating. The crew could see armed drones patrolling the perimeter, ready to react to any threat. Bonner's heart raced, but he focused on the mission. "Stay sharp, everyone. We'll be in range soon. Once we're inside, we need to move fast. Remember, this is about survival." Just then, an alert rang out on the ship's console. "Commander, they've detected a slight energy spike," shouted one of the crew members. "We need to move now!" Bonner's instincts kicked in. "All right, engage the cloaking device fully. We need to slip through before they can react." The Defiant surged forward, the crew holding their breath as they crossed into the warship's blind spot. They were almost there. The tension was palpable. Every second felt like an eternity as they navigated through the dangerous void between ships. Finally, they reached a docking bay and quickly entered the Titan's Wrath. With their cloaking still active, they slipped into the darkened corridors of the enemy ship. Their heartbeats echoed in the silence, underscoring the enormity of their undertaking. "We made it," Bonner whispered, a glimmer of hope igniting in his chest. "Now let's save Earth." This was just the beginning of their perilous journey. The stakes were high, and every decision could lead to victory or defeat. As they ventured deeper into the heart of the warship, the crew of the Defiant steeled themselves for the challenges ahead. They were ready to fight for their planet, no matter the cost. With that determination, the first chapter of their struggle began, and the fate of humanity rested on their shoulders. As the crew of the Defiant navigated the dark corridors of the Titan's Wrath, a sense of urgency filled the air. The ship's interior was vast and intimidating, with cold metal walls and blinking lights casting eerie shadows. Every sound echoed, making it feel like they were being watched. Bonner, leading the way, gestured for the crew to follow closely. "Stay quiet and keep your eyes open," he whispered, glancing back at his team. "We're in enemy territory now. One mistake could cost us everything." The crew moved stealthily, their hearts pounding as they ventured deeper into the warship. They knew they had to reach the control room where the main weapon systems were located. With every step, the weight of their mission pressed down on them. They could not afford to fail. Suddenly, Alex, the young pilot, stopped in his tracks. "Commander, I see a patrol ahead," he whispered urgently. The crew huddled behind a wall, peering around the corner. Two robotic sentinels with glowing red eyes patrolled the corridor, scanning for any intruders. Their movements were quick and precise, making it clear they were programmed to eliminate any threat. Bonner's mind raced. "We can't engage them directly. We need to find another way around," he whispered. "Let's split into two teams. I'll take the left side with Alex and the rest of you go right. We'll meet at the control room." The crew nodded, trusting Bonner's leadership. They split up, moving quickly but quietly. Bonner and Alex crept along the left corridor, trying to stay out of sight. The tension was thick as they listened for the sound of the sentinels. As they rounded a corner, they stumbled upon a small maintenance room. "We should check in here," Bonner suggested. They entered and found a control panel with a holographic map of the Titan's wrath. It showed their current location and the quickest route to the control room. "This is perfect," Alex exclaimed, pointing at the map. "If we take this route, we can avoid the patrols." Just then, alarms blared throughout the ship. Red lights flashed and a voice announced, "Intruders detected! All security personnel report to your stations." The crew's hearts sank as they realized they had only minutes before the entire ship would be on high alert. "Move now!" Bonner commanded. They quickly memorized the route and rushed out of the maintenance room. The pressure was on. Every second counted as they sprinted down the corridors, trying to stay ahead of the approaching guards. Meanwhile, the other team had their own challenges. As they made their way through the right corridor, they encountered a group of soldiers armed with high-tech weapons. The tension rose as they realized they were outnumbered. "Stay low and follow my lead," one of the soldiers whispered. They quickly ducked behind crates, peeking out to assess the situation. The enemy soldiers were busy chatting, unaware of the hidden humans. The soldier signaled for a distraction. One member of the team threw a small device down the hall, creating a loud noise that drew the soldiers' attention. They moved to investigate, allowing the crew to slip past unnoticed. Back with Bonner and Alex, they had finally reached a massive door marked Control Room. Bonner placed his hand on the console, trying to override the lock. Come on, he urged, frustration creeping into his voice. Just as the door began to slide open, the sound of marching footsteps echoed down the hall. They turned to see a squad of armed soldiers heading straight toward them. Panic surged through Bonner's mind, but he quickly composed himself. "We have to get in now," he shouted. The door opened just in time, and they dashed inside, slamming it shut behind them. The control room was filled with screens displaying data and tactical information. At the center was a large console glowing with bright lights. "We did it!" Alex exclaimed, but Bonner's expression remained serious. "We're not out of danger yet. We need to disable their weapons before they find us." They quickly began working on the console. As they entered commands, the screens flashed warnings showing the status of the warship's weapon systems. Bonner's hands moved swiftly, sweat trickling down his forehead as the footsteps outside grew louder. Just then, the alarm blared again, and a voice echoed through the room. "Intruders in the control room. Prepare to engage!" The crew exchanged worried glances, adrenaline surging through them. They knew they were on borrowed time. This was their moment to fight back against the Galactic Council, and failure was not an option. "Let's do this!" Bonner shouted, and they prepared for the inevitable battle. They were determined to show the Galactic Council that humanity was not weak and would fight for their survival. The storm was gathering, and the battle for their home was about to begin. Inside the control room of the Titan's Wrath, the atmosphere was tense. Bonner and Alex worked furiously at the glowing console, typing in commands to disable the warship's weapon systems. The screens around them flashed warnings, displaying the powerful armaments ready to unleash destruction upon Earth. Outside, they could hear the footsteps of the approaching guards, their voices sharp and urgent. "We have to hurry," Alex said, his eyes darting to the door. "If they get in here before we disable the weapons, we won't stand a chance." Bonner nodded, his fingers racing across the keys. "I'm almost in!" Just a few more seconds. Sweat dripped from his brow as he focused intently on the screen, hoping to access the main weapon control. Suddenly, the door rattled violently. "They're here!" Bonner shouted. He took a deep breath and gave one last, desperate command. The console beeped loudly, and then a green light flashed, indicating that they had succeeded in shutting down the main weapons systems. "We did it! The weapons are offline!" he exclaimed, relief flooding over him. But their celebration was short-lived. The door burst open, and a group of armed soldiers stormed into the room, their weapons drawn and ready to fire. "Intruders! Drop your weapons!" one soldier barked, his voice filled with authority. Without hesitation, Bonner and Alex grabbed their weapons and prepared to fight. They knew they had to protect the console at all costs. The crew had worked too hard and sacrificed too much for this moment. "Get behind the console!" Bonner shouted, pushing Alex down as blaster fire lit up the room. They took cover, adrenaline pumping through their veins as they tried to think of a way out. The soldiers advanced cautiously, scanning the room for any signs of the intruders. "We know you're in here!" another soldier yelled, moving closer to their position. "Surrender now and we might let you live." Bonner looked at Alex, whose eyes were wide with fear. "We can't give up," Bonner said firmly. "We have to fight back. We're not just going to let them take us down." Taking a deep breath, Bonner peeked over the console. He aimed his weapon and fired at the nearest soldier, hitting him square in the chest. The soldier fell to the ground with a thud and chaos erupted in the room. The remaining soldiers reacted quickly, taking cover behind their own barricades and returning fire. "Keep firing!" Bonner shouted, ducking behind the console as blaster bolts whizzed past him. He could feel the heat of the energy blasts on his skin. "We need to hold them off until the others can join us." Meanwhile, Alex was trying to make sense of the situation. He glanced at the control panel, where the screens were flashing alerts about the ongoing battle. "Bonner, I can hack into their communication system. If we can warn the others, they might be able to help us." "Do it!" Bonner replied, continuing to return fire. He felt a surge of hope at Alex's suggestion. If they could communicate with the rest of the crew, they might stand a chance against the soldiers. While Bonner provided cover fire, Alex scrambled to the console, typing rapidly. He managed to access the ship's communication network. "This is Alex from the Defiant. We're in the control room, under attack. We need backup now," he shouted into the transmitter, praying that their crew would hear him. Outside the control room, the sound of footsteps echoed as Bonner's team raced toward their location, ready to support their commander and pilot. "We're coming, Bonner! Hold on!" shouted one of the crew members. The soldiers pressed forward, trying to overwhelm Bonner and Alex. But just as it seemed they might be overrun, Bonner's team burst into the room. With renewed strength, they joined the fight, exchanging fire with the soldiers and pushing them back. Bonner felt a surge of determination as he fought alongside his crew. They had come too far to let the Galactic Council defeat them now. As the last soldier fell, the crew let out a cheer, their victory echoing through the chamber. They had successfully infiltrated the Titan's wrath, and now, with the weapons systems disabled, they could plan their next move. The battle was far from over, but this small victory fueled their resolve to fight for Earth. Bonner looked at his team, knowing they had formed a bond stronger than ever. They were no longer just soldiers. They were heroes fighting against the darkness of the Galactic Council, and together they would take the fight to the heart of the enemy. The cheers of victory still echoed in the control room as Bonner and his crew caught their breath. They had successfully defeated the soldiers guarding the control room, but they knew the real battle was yet to come. The Galactic Council would not give up easily, and they had to prepare for the fight of their lives. Bonner gathered everyone around the console, his expression serious. "We've taken control of the weapons systems, but the ship's main reactor is still fully operational. If we want to end this once and for all, we need to find a way to destroy it." Alex nodded, a determined look on his face. "If we overload the reactor, it will cause a chain reaction that could take down the entire warship. But we'll need to set it up while keeping the guards at bay." Bonner's eyes scanned the room, gathering his team's attention. "We need to split up. Some of us will stay here to defend this room, while the rest will go to the reactor chamber and set the overload. We can't let anyone stop us." The team agreed, and they quickly devised a plan. Bonner chose a few crew members to stay behind, while he, Alex, and two other soldiers made their way toward the reactor chamber. The tension in the air was thick. They knew that every moment counted. As they made their way through the ship's narrow corridors, the sounds of alarms blared around them. The Galactic Council was aware that their defenses had been breached, and reinforcements were likely on the way. Bonner felt his heart race, knowing they had to move fast. After navigating through a maze of hallways, they finally reached the reactor chamber. It was a massive room filled with glowing machinery and powerful energy. The reactor pulsed with a bright light, humming ominously. "Stay alert," Bonner warned as they entered the chamber. "We don't know how many guards might be here." Just as they set foot inside, a group of soldiers emerged from the shadows, weapons raised. "Stop right there!" one of them shouted. The crew froze, hearts pounding. "Bonner, what do we do?" Alex whispered, fear creeping into his voice. Bonner's mind raced. "We fight. We can't let them stop us now." He quickly took cover behind a large piece of equipment. "We need to create a diversion while one of us sets the reactor to overload." "I'll cover you!" With that, Bonner and the other crew members opened fire, forcing the soldiers to duck for cover. The sound of blaster fire filled the room as chaos erupted. Bonner could see one of their crew members inching closer to the reactor, frantically typing commands into the control panel. "Come on! We don't have much time!" Bonner shouted over the noise. The soldiers retaliated, firing back at Bonner and his team. The air crackled with energy as blaster bolts flew. Bonner felt the adrenaline rush through him as he focused on protecting his crew. They had fought hard to get here, and they couldn't let it end now. Just then, one of the enemy soldiers flanked them, taking aim at Alex. Bonner reacted instinctively, pushing Alex out of the way and taking the hit himself. Pain shot through his shoulder as he fell to the ground. "Bonner!" Alex cried, but Bonner gritted his teeth and kept his eyes on the enemy. "Keep fighting! We can't let them win!" he yelled, refusing to give in. Alex and the others rallied, pushing back against the soldiers, determined to protect Bonner. In a last-ditch effort, Bonner struggled to his feet, using the console for support. He aimed his weapon and fired, taking down the soldier who had shot him. "Now!" he shouted. "Finish the overload!" With renewed focus, Alex and the other crew member quickly input the final commands. The reactor began to hum louder, warning lights flashing around them. "It's set!" one of them shouted, relief washing over his face. "We need to get out of here!" "Go! I'll cover you!" Bonner said, despite the pain radiating from his shoulder. He fired at the remaining soldiers, buying his team precious seconds to escape. As Alex and the others dashed for the exit, Bonner followed closely, heart pounding. They reached the corridor just as the reactor began to shake violently. "We have to hurry!" Bonner urged, the walls trembling around them. They sprinted through the ship, the sound of explosions and alarms ringing in their ears. Just as they reached the exit, a massive explosion erupted behind them. The Titan's wrath shook violently as the reactor overloaded, sending shockwaves through the ship. The crew raced outside just in time, witnessing the colossal warship begin to crumble. "We did it!" Alex exclaimed, relief and triumph evident in his voice. Bonner smiled through the pain, knowing they had struck a significant blow against the Galactic Council. As they watched the Titan's wrath disintegrate, the crew felt a mix of emotions: victory, loss, and determination. They had survived against the odds, and now they were more than just soldiers. They were the guardians of Earth, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Together, they would continue to fight for their home and show the galaxy that humanity would never back down. As the massive explosion of the Titan's wrath lit up the night sky, Bonner and his crew stood together on the edge of the battlefield, watching the destruction unfold. Flames roared and debris scattered across the stars, a sight both terrifying and beautiful. They had done the impossible. They had taken down one of the Galactic Council's most powerful warships. "Did we really do it?" Alex asked, disbelief still evident in his eyes. "Did we really defeat them?" Bonner nodded, a smile breaking through the pain from his shoulder. "We did. Together we fought and won. This is a victory for all of humanity." The thrill of triumph filled the air, wrapping around them like a warm blanket, overshadowing the fatigue and fear they had felt just moments before. But even as joy surged within him, Bonner couldn't shake the weight of their journey. They had lost friends along the way. He thought of those who had fought bravely and sacrificed everything for this moment. Their memories would always be a part of him, reminding him of the cost of freedom. "We should honor them," one of the crew members said softly, breaking the silence. "They fought valiantly. They deserve our respect." Bonner agreed. "We'll hold a memorial. They gave their lives for us and for our future. We cannot forget them." The crew nodded in agreement, their expressions turning serious as they contemplated the sacrifices made in the name of victory. As the last remnants of the Titan's wrath faded into the void, Bonner turned to his team. This battle was just the beginning. The Galactic Council won't stop here. They will come for us again. The determination in his voice was palpable. But now we know what we're up against. We have a taste of victory, and we won't let it slip away. Alex, still buzzing with excitement, chimed in. We have the skills, the technology, and most importantly, we have each other. If we can take down their warship, we can take down anything. With spirits high and hearts full of hope, they made their way back to their ship, the Defiant. The crew was exhausted but exhilarated. They had proven themselves against the odds and emerged victorious, but they knew their fight was far from over. As they boarded the ship, Bonner took a moment to reflect on everything that had happened. He looked around at his team, each one of them filled with determination and courage. They had come together in the face of adversity, united by their shared goal of protecting Earth. The bond they formed during this battle was unbreakable. Once aboard the Defiant, they quickly got to work, plotting their next moves. We need to inform the rest of the fleet about our victory and what we've learned, Bonner said. We have to prepare for what's coming. The crew set to work, their energy renewed by their success. They communicated with other Earth forces, sharing strategies and lessons learned from their confrontation with the Galactic Council. Together, they would strengthen their defenses and unite to prepare for the inevitable battles ahead. As Bonner looked out at the stars, he felt a surge of hope. Humanity was resilient, capable of greatness even in the darkest of times. They had fought against advanced technology and overwhelming odds, and they had won. Together we are stronger, he said, rallying his team once more. We will not be just a footnote in the galaxy. We will be known as the defenders of Earth, and we will fight for our home no matter the cost. With a renewed sense of purpose, Bonner and his crew set their course, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. They were no longer just soldiers. They were warriors, fighting for their planet, standing together against the darkness of the universe. The story of their victory would inspire countless others, proving that humanity would always rise against tyranny and fight for their right to exist.